The next submission is the Canterbury International Education Leadership Accord. We've got Beth Knowles with Sigrid. Is Sigrid Yammit coming as well? Yes. Good morning, Beth. That's a hard act to follow.
It's an incredibly hard act to follow, but actually fits quite
a
nicely
nice segue into a slightly related issue. Yeah.
Yeah. So good morning, Your Worship, the Mayor and City Councillors. My name is Beth Knowles and I'm the International Director at ARA Institute of Canterbury. Thank you for this opportunity to speak on behalf of the Canterbury International Education Leadership Accord. This consists of senior leadership from the two universities, University of Canterbury and Lincoln University, ARA and secondary, intermediate and primary schools involved in international education from a strategic perspective with Christchurch, New Zealand. Firstly, I would like to commend the city on the forming of Christchurch, New Zealand. This really leads other cities and their economic development strategies by bringing together tourism, international education and business. Our biggest competitors in New Zealand for the attraction of international students are Auckland, Wellington and Dunedin. These and other cities invest heavily in regional promotion because they see the value from a visitor and talent perspective. To be effective, Christchurch, New Zealand needs to be innovative, and they have already proven they can do this to really support and help us to recover our market share of the international students choosing to come and study in New Zealand. Only Auckland attracts more international students than Christchurch. Did you know that prior to the earthquakes, 1 in 5 international students coming to study in New Zealand chose Christchurch? Sadly, this statistic is now only 1 in 10 students. Although our student numbers are coming back, we still need investment and support to return to our former market share. Every dollar you invest will return $23 economic value. My question to you is not should you invest, it's actually can you afford not to invest. 2 very innovative initiatives launched through Christchurch, New Zealand are the Job Ready program and the International Student Ambassador program. By 2031, this city will face a shortage of 73,500 skilled workers. The Job Ready program is already helping to fill skill shortages in the city with some of our international graduates. Did you know that 43% of skilled migrant category principal applicants in New Zealand were previously on a student visa? The International Student Ambassador program is helping our international students feel welcome, but perhaps more importantly, ensuring they add value and feel a sense of belonging in our community. They are contributing in so many ways, including volunteering, social media marketing of the city, and bringing youthful diversity and colourful events into the city. The total economic value add of international students to Christchurch City is $310 million. Please help us to grow this to our target of $1 billion by 2025. We are really on the way to achieve that. We know we can achieve this with your help. This export education sector also provides 5,000 high-value jobs in Christchurch and the Canterbury region, and it provides opportunities for our local youth population to take part in language and cultural experiences that increases their employability at a time when cultural competencies will be one of the most important skills for the next generation of New Zealanders. International education connects Christchurch to the world. Without city investment, much of the current activity undertaken by Christchurch New Zealand in partnership with the education providers will cease. We need to take full advantage of the opportunity that the new organisation brings to the city, and we cannot do this without investment and support from the City Council. Thank you again for this opportunity to speak on behalf of Christchurch New Zealand's submission and the International Education Leadership Accord. Thank you.
Thank you. Is Sigrid speaking as well, or?
She will after Stuart. Stuart is
Oh, well, Stuart might as well come to the table as well, because you're representing Christchurch Educated the following submission, so we'll deal with them all together.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Mayor, councillors, chief executives. My name is Stuart Brome. I'm Scottish. I'm going to talk about money. I'm also chair of Christchurch Educated, the sector body representing the primary, the intermediate, secondary, polytechnic, the universities and the private training establishments here in the city. I'm here today to support the proposed $1.4 million investment in Christchurch NZ as set out on page 11 of the LTP. Christchurch New Zealand has been charged with igniting a bold ambition, connecting change makers, stimulating the economic activity and attracting visitors to Christchurch. A key tenet to that strategy is the continued support for and growth in international education. So let me paint a picture of the sector. Canterbury has over 11,000 international students, spending on average $44,000 per year. 40% of those students want to stay in New Zealand post-study and contribute to the region through high-value employment. Of those, 20% will gain residency over time, and that's likely to grow in the coming years as long-term skills shortages affect Canterbury. In 2016, the OECD stated that New Zealand immigration population is one of the most skilled and proficient. As Beth noted, Christchurch, New Zealand estimate that for every $1 invested in international education, there's a $23 economic value add. International education is a sizable industry supporting 5,000 high-value jobs in the region and contributing over $310 million to the region and the city directly. And we want to see that rise to $1 billion by 2025 with your help and support. The advantage for you of such growth is that in one regard, you would achieve a further $250 million in attributed rate value from student accommodation based on the current 2018 rating values. But it's not just about the students themselves. There's a wider visitor economy and there's a wider economic landscape. 60% of all international students will be visited by friends and family this year alone. Those people who visit will spend $3,600 each per visit, and that will bring $17 million to the Christchurch and Canterbury economy this year alone. Beth's already commented on the role that international education plays in wider tourism in skills development, and I commend her for such comments. The case for targeted investment is compelling, and there are external risks. We are in a highly competitive market, both globally and nationally. As Beth mentioned, Wellington, Otago, and my home city of Hamilton are aggressive in promoting themselves as an international study destination. We cannot afford to lag behind our competitors in this significant economy market. Christchurch needs to promote itself to an international youth market and to make them feel connected and welcomed to the city first and to the institutions second. To do that, we need a cohesive and bold education value proposition that focuses on the city first and foremost, and to align and connect to the industry to amplify that message. Christchurch, New Zealand should be charged with promoting Christchurch as a 21st century education hub, connecting into and supporting local and regional business needs. There is a need for a multi-level regional marketing campaign that promotes and articulates the value of Christchurch as a study and lifestyle destination. They should promote offshore events, inbound promotions and government delegations, and provide intelligence and support to the education providers as and where appropriate. Councillors, over the last few days you've heard many submissions asking for investments, talking about priorities and why this and why that should happen. So I'll finish, if I may, by prefacing what the Mayor said in our LTP document. We can achieve so much more when we work together. Christchurch, New Zealand has an outstanding opportunity to take the proposed investments and to work together with a range of stakeholders, including international education, to make a real difference to the culture, social, youth and economic transformation of this proud city. With solid, independent and consistent economic facts to back the case, I commend the proposal to Council.
Thank you, Stuart. Hello, my name is Sigrid Yammit, and I'll be talking about my experiences. Throughout my undergraduate years, I was involved with the International Student Association, and I was inducted as an ambassador last 2014 by Leanne herself, and I'm wearing the badge that they gave me back then. And from then on, I became the association's president and was involved in so many city activities, got to meet so many people from around the world, and was able to widen my horizon and my networks. Basically, being an ambassador was a momentous achievement as I was able to represent my city, be a city ambassador, and it has changed my life. Through my involvement, I improved my soft skills, my cultural competence, my leadership skills, and I was able to feel so connected to my city and so passionate about it. This was the same for my friends who were also a part of the ambassador and internship programs ran by Christchurch NZ. Through the networks I have developed, I was able to get a full-time job, and I decided to stay in Christchurch and call this my home forevermore. Programs like this represent what Christchurch is truly about. It is a welcoming city of opportunities, that we celebrate our city's rich diversity, and we encourage young people like me to be involved, to be Christchurch city ambassadors, to help people feel connected to our city, to our communities, to grow and flourish with our city, and to proudly call Christchurch our home. Thank you so much, and we greatly appreciate your time. Yeah.
Awareness, but you now made everyone else aware as well. So thank you for doing that.
Thank you very much for your presentations. I just want to ask you, look, there was a comment made in an earlier submission, you might have been here, that in fact New Zealand and Christchurch, we're good at bringing people to our country. We're not so great sometimes at looking after them. So I just really want to ask you about support that your organisations might be able to offer in terms of your structures for for young people who come.
Yeah, I think we do that to a certain extent. I think it's very valuable to have young international students from such a range of countries like we do, because they can help the communities of the older generations that come in who find it much more difficult to adapt. I think when you're young, you're more adaptable and open to living in a different, and you've chosen to come here, you know, as an international student. So I think we do have a lot of support services, and the Student Ambassador Program, there's a lot of volunteer work that happens in the communities. So I think that's a fantastic thing that's been a result of the Student Ambassador Program.
Thank you.
Yeah, just on a wider aspect, I think New Zealand's well served by the Code of Practice for the Pastoral Care of International Students, which is a legislative framework requiring provider institutions to act in a very explicit way in terms of care of students. I think the Christchurch Educated, as an incorporated body, one of their primary goals is to support the membership to understand those obligations and to work together. So what we find is through Christchurch Educated, we've got a lot of opportunities to discuss how we do things, how we support students. It's not perfect, but certainly there's a legislative framework, and there is an intent by the memberships within Christchurch to support the students as best we can, and we would want to see that continue.
Thank you.
I reviewed the Canterbury, the International Education Destination 2025. One of 6 year goal is the vibrant, inclusive, multicultural community where students feel welcome, value for their positive social impact. But also, Council will launch multicultural strategy. Are you aware?
Yes.
Okay, that's good, that's good. Also, one of the goals is very, very close. So how to strengthen this communication? That's most of the important to integrate all those resources and regarding review those strategy for the further implementation. That's what's your point of view?
Yeah, from my point of view, the formation of Christchurch, New Zealand has created a wonderful opportunity to be much more careful with the way we resource things and to leverage off each other. And I think the city is very forward thinking in forming that organisation. And I mean, the Student Ambassador Program is a program where the multicultural community can link into that program and take advantage of a lot of the young people's skills that they bring.
Okay,
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Can I just say to Sigrid,
Thank you.
to ask Beth, you mentioned that some organisations would not, you said, would not market offshore if the City Council didn't invest. Who would they be?
I think it's been particularly difficult since the earthquakes for the school sector, and we have a huge reduction in the number of English language providers in the city. They have, but there's new ones coming in. They're trying to establish themselves. We want those businesses to be successful. It has a flow-on effect. When people learn the English language, they go on to higher levels of learning, so it's important. I think it's more likely to be the schools that would find it difficult, yes.
Yeah, I would concur with that, Councillor. The feedback we've had is that the smaller schools who are wanting to get involved in international education, that don't have the critical mass, that are looking for the city for support and an overarching strategy, those are the people that would be reticent to go forward because they just don't have the experience and the knowledge base that they can draw upon, and they would feel, is that investment there against something else? So there is a tension there that they have to address.
I think the other thing is the brand of Christchurch. I mean, working with tourism, it stops all the duplication of resources. It's really very valuable to have really good material to promote the city. So I think that's incredibly important.
To my speaker of thank you very much for your submission today. Very much appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right, we've got a